everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rich. I have a small project that I need to take care of today. So I took my wife's van in for state inspection and I was rejected. Got myself a rejection sticker, and unfortunately what happened is the emergency brake is not holding the vehicle. So I talked to the mechanic, and he basically indicated to me that the emergency brake would hold the vehicle going forward, but it would not hold the vehicle going backwards and reverse. And so he was going to fail me because of that. At that point, he asked me whether or not he wanted me to allow him to correct the problem, which would be to adjust the emergency brake. And I basically indicated to him, don't those things self-adjust automatically anyway? I don't understand. He was like, well, sometimes they actually seize up just with corrosion over time, and that you have to kind of manually adjust it to get it to be right. He didn't think that the emergency brake shoes were actually bad. 9 times out of 10, it's just the little gear that spins that is just frozen up and needs to be released so that it will adjust. So I told him that I was going to go ahead and do it on my own, that he was going to charge me $100 to make the adjustment, and I was like kind of frustrated with him because I was like, that's kind of an easy fix. Wouldn't you just do that just to be kind? But obviously, they're in it for the business, and I understand. But so I told him to put a rejection sticker on it, and I'll do the adjustment and bring it back for him to put a pass inspection on it this next week. So today we're going to be making those adjustments so that the emergency brakes work, and I'll show you how to go about adjusting them so that they work properly. Okay, so we're at the back of the vehicle, and the first thing that you need to go ahead and do to do this process is to go ahead and jack the vehicle up, because you do have to take the tires off of the vehicle. So these steps are for, a 2011 to 2017, 18 Toyota Sienna, but likely this process will be the same for just about all Toyota products that have disc brakes on the back. Drum's going to be a little bit different, but these are disc brakes, and they have brake shoes inside the disc drum, or the disc itself on the backside. And typically for drum brakes, you do the adjustments on the backside of the drums, and you can actually do it with the wheels on for most older American type vehicles, and I would imagine Toyota does the same thing. I haven't really checked my truck, but in any case, if you're looking for adjustments to your emergency brake on a Toyota vehicle with rear disc brakes, likely these will be the same steps. Doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be Sienna. So if you're watching this video for this adjustment, you'll probably be able to use these steps to do your particular vehicle. So I was able to jack the vehicle up, and I jacked up on the springs on the backside, and then put jack stands on the pivot point for where the trailing arm connects to the unibody. So it's a good structural place to be able to put your jack stands on, and then I made sure to chock the front wheels to make sure it doesn't roll around or anything like that. So when you're working like shade tree mechanic style outside, because my garage is being used right now, so just want to be safe anytime, even in the garage, so that we don't have any kind of emergency accidents or anything like that. So just be safe when you're working on this stuff. Now we just take a 21 millimeter socket and remove the wheels to access the disc brakes. Okay, so now we got the tire off, we can begin to adjust the emergency brake. Now, this typically, there's a little rubber grommet here that covers this hole up to kind of protect it from water and the elements and things. But apparently mine is gone because I didn't change the rear brakes the last time. I had actually Firestone do it. So they put that. They probably removed it at some point to adjust it, or it came off. But in any case, you'll want to remove the little rubber grommet that is there if yours is there. If not, then obviously you have access to it. Now that you have access to it, you should be able to access the see, but you can't. They put this drum on incorrectly, and so I can't actually get to the little gear. So, man, that's, well, we can fix it, but if you don't put the drum on, there's one way to put the drum on. Obviously, you know, it's got a 5-bolt pattern, you can kind of spin it however you want, but unfortunately, if you don't put it on correctly, you can't access the little gear that spreads the brake shoes to expand out onto the drum itself. And since I can't access that, we need to take the caliper off so I can get this disc off the back, so that I can re-clock it and put it into position so that we can adjust it. But that'll be good, because you'll be able to show you the actual mechanism itself so that you can see it. But let's go ahead and take this caliper off first. So there's a bolt on the bottom, and there's a bolt on top right here. This one here, and then the one on the bottom, to take the whole caliper and the caliper bracket off. So if you just take these bolts off, you're just going to take the caliper off, and this bracket will still be in place, not allowing you to take the disc off. But we need to take this one off, and this is a 17 millimeter. Okay, that one's loose. Okay, this is going to come off now, but it's still connected, so you want to kind of get it out of the way, but don't let it hang. So I'm just going to break it loose, and then I'm going to hang it up here, try to find a little spot for it to sit. If you can't find a spot for it to sit, you want to go ahead and ziplock it to something so it doesn't fall out of place. Okay, so we want to get this drum off, and it's probably frozen on there, so it's not going to come off. So the best way to do it is you use a little persuader. This is my persuader right here. You just want to be careful. You want to hit it on the face of this to break this seal loose right here, because this is all frozen. But you don't want to hit these. You don't want to hit these wheel studs, because you won't be able to get the lug nuts back on. So you just want to be real careful, just to kind of tap it here, tap it there, there, all the way around until it breaks itself loose. And you know, don't be afraid to give it a little bit of muscle if it's frozen on there. There it is. Now we can pull this thing off. And I can show you what I mean. See, now there's what I'm talking about. As you can see here, there's a notch in this little axle. Well, it's not an axle shaft because it's not rear-wheel drive, but in this spindle. This needs to be where that hole is on the drum. So it wasn't clocked properly, so that hole was showing up right here,
and I couldn't get my screwdriver through there. So I need to reposition it so that the hole shows up in that spot. So now I got a clear access point to the gear. But let me go ahead and show you before I put this back together again. So once I put that drum back on, you'll be able to spin it all the way down to the bottom, because that's where the gear that adjusts these brake shoes to make it spread apart. These brake shoes will spread apart and then basically squeeze up against the edge of the drum. And you want to spin this gear right here. See if I can show you. This little gear right here, you want to spin it up, and that spreads it out. Down makes it go in, but pushing it up spreads it out. So you just want to put the screwdriver through the hole, and you want to spin it ever so slightly to adjust it, like that. It's actually a little harder to do it without the hole there, but but essentially we're going to spread this out, and I'm going to tighten it to where the disc doesn't actually spin, or the drum doesn't actually spin. And then I'll back it off some so that it's released a little bit, so that way you know that it's just about ready to touch when you put your emergency brake on. But hopefully that gives you an idea of how it works and why I couldn't just quickly adjust it without doing all this extra work, because I had to reclock this drum or rotor. So now that it's reclocked, see, it's already touching it. So if I spin it a little bit, there it is. Okay, so now, see how tight that is now? Oh, it won't even move. Well, now I've done it. Let's loosen it a little bit. There. Okay. So that should be enough. Okay, it's ready. And if I ever need to adjust it again, this is clocked correctly, so I can always put it down at the 6 o'clock position and make my adjustment there. It'll be a whole lot easier than having to take that off. But hopefully, it's supposed to be self-adjusting, so when you go in reverse for about like 10 to 12 feet, it's supposed to spin and open itself up if it's not already. So you're supposed to back up and then hit the brake, and it's supposed to spin that gear. You do it a couple of times and it's supposed to self-adjust, but sometimes they get frozen. But that wasn't frozen, so I don't know why it wasn't adjusted, or if the place that I had taken it to was just giving me a hard time and wanted to make a few extra dollars because they weren't making any money off of it. But in any case, I made the adjustments. I know that it's done, and we just install it. So now it's just a matter of putting the wheel back on, and then we can test it out. So now that I got this wheel done, I just repeat the process for the other wheel on the other side. So now that we got the vehicle all done and buttoned up, we can go ahead and test out the emergency brake and make sure that it actually is holding in drive and in reverse, so that it will pass the inspection and then I can get a new sticker put on the vehicle. So let's go ahead and test it out. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in reverse and put the emergency brake on and see if it will hold the vehicle and not move. And I'll also do the same thing for putting it into drive to make sure that everything is working properly. So let's go ahead and try it. It seems to be working pretty good, so I think this is a success. So I think the next step is for me to go back to the mechanic that put the sticker on and get my state inspection sticker for the next year. So hopefully this video was helpful to you, and if you have any questions or concerns or comments about what I completed here today, put them in the comment section below, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Okay, folks, I will see you later.